Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you in a pinch, and is also here to help your anti-shaming needs, I guess. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs, and welcome back to another episode. This is the last one before the big holiday. Actually, I'm excited. I celebrate Christmas. I don't know if you guys celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever. This is going to be so much fun. Some of you guys already had your holidays depending on whatever country you're from and what you celebrate. So whatever it may be, like I said last week, I hope it was or will be a good one. Programming note before we jump into questions this week, I am going to be out of country for the holidays this year. If you guys don't know, my wife and I are going to be in Costa Rica for a week. I know, so we're doing the palm tree, Christmas tree thing. It's going to be pretty much a ton of fun. So I'm going to be pre-recording the extra Mondays. The Mondays, I'm not going to miss a week. Don't worry, you're going to have your Mondays. I want to make sure it's up every single week, but I will be pre-recording that. So we're going to get that done. It's going to probably be a best of or kind of lost questions again. If you guys don't know, where I answer a lot more questions than I ever get on this show. Like I actually do more questions than I have to edit out anyway. So anyway, enough yapping about that. I want you guys to know, if you are looking at making a purchase from the web store, I'll be leaving on the 20th. I'll be back on the 28th. Yes, so that is of December 20th through December 28th of 2016. If you place an order on the web store, and I'll put it up there too, I'll be shipping when I get back. So I get back late on the 28th, 29th, I'll be stuffing envelopes that day and getting them out to you guys. So any orders will just be delayed on that shipping. So kind of keep that in mind if you guys are looking at picking something up. But yeah, that's it. Let's just dive into what you're here for then really, and that's your questions, like always, in the Palco Mail Call. Airsoft Al writes, hey John, I recently touched on gear shaming and was wondering if you could touch on the subject as well. I've touched on this in the past, but it seems to be something that's very common. In fact, I see questions around this realm of gear shaming brought up. So if you guys don't know what gear shaming is, it's basically making fun of someone else for what they're wearing. It's kind of shaming, bullying, whatever you want to call it. It happens in every hobby, every world, every school, every business workplace. I mean, people make fun of people. That is unfortunately human nature. There's some great, nice people out there that won't, but there's plenty of people that do. And admittedly, I've kind of been guilty of oh man, look at what they're wearing. I am not above it myself. I am sorry, I have to admit. Now, I don't do it all the time, but I've been caught myself once or twice in the past being a jerk. So anyway, honestly, I think Airsoft, it really is ultimately, we all do the same thing. And I've said this before, we are essentially live action role players. We dress up, we get toy guns, and we run around and shoot each other. I mean, that's really, when you boil down what we do. I mean, some people take the milsim thing to the nth degree, and they're like, no man, I'm living freaking milsim. At the end of the day, we all are LARPing. That's it. There is no difference between us and anyone else who does a live action role play type hobby. So that's it. That is it. I mean, if you're throwing magic missiles or you're shooting a BB gun, when it comes down, especially milsim, that's really what I'm thinking of. So making fun of someone because they don't have nice gear, again, it's elitist attitudes that are going to be in every single hobby. I mean, I think I mentioned this last time I talked about it. Like in golf, you have people making fun of your clubs. You're going to have going to the rifle range, even in real shooting. It's like, oh, look at him. He's got a high point. And if you guys don't know what high point is, it's kind of the joke gun when it comes to real firearms. Just Google it. It's like they self-destruct. Not really, but kind of. Anyway, but that's kind of what it is. It's making fun of gear, making fun of someone else's stuff. At the end of the day, we're such a small hobby. I wish we could get above that, and I hope we can. And mentoring and helping and bringing new players, if it's their first time out, I mean, they could be just wearing sweatpants and a cross draw, or they got mags jammed in their pockets and they're running this clear, cheap gun they got from Academy Sports. They don't even have an entry-level combat machine or something good like that. I think those are the players you want to go and seek out and help because those are the ones who are going to continue to grow this hobby. They'll be the next generation that come up and play. And if you can teach them the right way to play, calling their hits, doing things like that, and showing them some tactics, they will be your next battle buddy. So enough of me on the soapbox there, but that's kind of my thing. I know I went from gear shaming to mentoring, which I kind of find myself wandering down that path a lot of kind of evangelizing that, but really it all kind of is one and the same. So next time you catch yourself, myself included, ready to point a finger and make fun of someone because of what they're wearing, take a pause and remember that all of us were there at some point originally. God knows I was. I owned a cross draw and it was bad. Murdoch writes, hey Jonathan, I love the vids. If I get shot on my tattoos repeatedly, could that mess them up? I have 2 full sleeves, just want to be safe for the future, as they are my pride and joy next to my airsoft guns. So this is kind of in reference to last week. Last week's show, I did talk about can getting shot a lot cause any permanent damage, like actually physically harm you to the point where you have permanent problems going forward with something like nerve damage and such. I think more so, yes. To answer your question, very short, very concise, absolutely getting shot in your tattoos on exposed skin can mess them up. I mean, tattoo is just ink in one of the many layers of skin. I mean, it's just right up in your skin. It doesn't go below that. So anytime you break that skin and you get a cut, scar, or in this case, a wound, absolutely there's a high chance that it is going to mess up your tattoo in that area. So if you've got a lot of high detail, a lot of shading, a lot of coloring, things like that, yeah, it can cause some serious problems, man. It could mess it up, it could break the skin, it could ruin the detail work there. And I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen guys get lit up in their tattoos and their sleeves and their arms. And I know this didn't apply to a lot of people here. I mean, I don't have even a single tattoo, and I know a lot of you guys probably don't. But for those of you that do, it is something. So definitely want to cover up. Last week I did mention some things. If you guys didn't see that episode, I'll make sure to put a link around here or below so you guys can go check it out and watch last week's where I talk about ways to protect your arms, things like that from being shot. But just, cover up is the ultimate thing. So if you want like tattoos like that, make sure they're covered up, they're protected so they won't get wounded and actually rip open. If getting bruised, I don't think it's gonna be a problem. You're gonna have a big issue there, but actually taking those wounds, especially play like CQB, getting shot up close, yeah, it can really cause some damage and mess them up. Grayson Elam writes, hey Jonathan, what are your thoughts on using an archery tag bow and arrow in an airsoft game? Do you think that it would even be allowed? So I would love this. And if you guys haven't seen archery tag, it's pretty cool because it's a real legitimate bow and arrow with this huge fist size, almost like foam pad on the end. So when you get hit by it, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it's way less painful than airsoft. And it's kind of growing in popularity around places. So basically you run around and you're absolutely playing the role of Robin Hood, or I'm a big fan of Arrow, so like, the Green Arrow, whatever your bow and arrow fans are. I think it would be absolutely cool to have that in the arsenal, especially when you look at games like Battlefield 4 that had the crossbow and actually had the compound bow, not the crossbow, the compound bow in there. I think it would be so cool to actually be able to get those kills off like that. I mean, I think it's just eye pro anyway, or face pro, so you're probably looking at the same level of protection you need for airsoft. In fact, I'm sure it's a lot more safe than airsoft, so the gear should cover you just no problem. But it would take some skill because the range in those things is not incredibly far. I mean, you can definitely outrange it with a pistol, so there would be a lot of skill involved with getting that shot with that crossbow or the archery bow tag, things like that. So absolutely yes, and you know what? I may actually look into getting one of these because I wonder if I could take it to a local field here in Oregon and go have a little fun with it. Stay tuned. I may actually have something happening. All right, guys, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red headset video recommendation of the week. And this one goes to a buddy of mine who is making the coolest stuff out there for airsoft accessories. And I'm so glad he's finally tackled this because I've been waiting to pick up one of these myself. I've been waiting for him to make his before this. And again, let me just kind of say here, I don't get paid to do any kind of sponsorship for these guys like at all and talk about, channels like this. Anything on the Mondays here in the video recommendation of the week, it's all my own choice or recommendations from you guys. But this is Brain Exploder Creations. Brain Exploder, I've been using his mount for my GoPros for years now, pretty much since they came out, and for hats, for my helmet, it is my go-to mount. I have chucked my GoPro mount. I don't even have it anymore because it is such a good mount, and now he's finally come out with mounts for the GoPro 5. So the new 5 is a different form factor. The case, it looks similar, but there doesn't have a case like the previous GoPros. You had the camera that went inside the shell and the shell closed and locked shut. Now it's all kind of one big thing. There's no like shell you can pop open to take the guts out. They changed the form factor a bit, so that did change things. You couldn't use the old mount. So good to know he's got them back. He's got a breakdown video here. You can watch all the stuff on all the new mounts. He's got them for boonie hats, regular ball caps, and of course your helmet for your night vision mount. So pretty much whatever you wear out there in the field, he's got you covered. And I love guys like him who are, seriously, like getting the product, doing all this crazy work, designing this stuff, and putting them up on Shapeways for sale. He really is a one-man operation and is the truest sense of an airsoft entrepreneur. So if you guys like what you see, if you got a GoPro 5, you've been holding out waiting for one like I have, when it comes out, I'll do a full review when I get a hold of one. I'm gonna order one when I get my 5. I gotta get the 5 first, then I'll get them out. But definitely take a look and pick up one of the game but one of the brain exploder mounts, I get my names right. And of course, I'll have a link over to his channel so you can watch the video and see all that. And if you have an older camera too, don't forget he has those too. And I've done some reviews of some of his older stuff too. Well guys, that's it for this episode of Airsoftology Mondays. As always, thank you so very much for hanging out here with me. Remember, next week I'm on vacation. It'll be a Lost Questions episode. So it'll be some from this episode, some from a previous 2 episodes. So you'll see me start it, and then you'll see me change outfits throughout and wonder, and I'll be totally different every single time. And you're like, I get a lot of questions like, why is he changing outfits between things? It's because I'm stitching together from old ones. Don't forget, just because I'm doing that doesn't mean I'm not gonna be watching all of your questions from this show and the next one to put on the next one. In fact, I'll do a really big show the next one. So don't forget to put your comments or questions in the comment section below and vote up your favorites, and we'll get them on the show. And be persistent. I do read every single one. I'll reply to a few of them as I go through on my Saturdays and Sundays when I'm actually prepping for filming for the Monday show. And I do remember you. If you guys are persistent week after week, I will definitely get your question on eventually. Trust me, I do read. I read every single one. So guys, until next week when I'm on vacation, go out, have some fun, play some airsoft. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.